to MSCC because the brochures are on Linda's list, and Jody was going to bring them, but I probably left before. I will be back.
Yes, thank you.
we'll set it up tomorrow. Just let it roll.
What time? That's in the.
Yeah, I have to look at the schedule. We're good there. We're done.
I have a coffee giving. So like Linda would. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm still at that.
A couple times.
Oh well, it's gonna have a few lines in it, but yeah.
Well, whenever you kind of, organizing and posting, you kind of forget about all that.
Well, you got. Okay.
put that plate on top of that one. Fine. Good, thank you.
What? Douglas? Yeah?
That's what I figured. I thought. They're all done, right? Her church mission was done today, but she did it online. So she got to get well, they did in the morning section. They did it done. You guys did on the game. Somebody mentioned just wait. She was my 8th grade teacher. Yes. That's why I said it like holy moly. Right? Yeah. I know you got chocolate and I got white. My daughter's Jack. My mom like that.
Kim.
good? Need anything? Or that's how we do it, sister.
If it's too organized, it's too hard.
I know. Then you have to follow the organization.
It's too planned.
And Mike just has an on button. I think. Oops. Carla Hoven. I'm trying to think what to say. It was amazing.
Okay, but Bill Chase is not very good at looking for things because I found the napkins and stuff.
You did? Where?
I'll meet.
Come on, write your name, what's your name here, and then your age, and what school you're in. She's trying to be shy. This one I got here out of her shyness. The one talk to nobody. I said, you're my daughter. You should be able to talk, right? You always talk. Yeah, but it's like we're all natural border trader. Just like that, Kelly. That's good. There you go. Right in. You moved again. Yes, you did. It's right there. Oh my God. I don't know iPhone. Wait. So you're buying the table that you will work on? Yes, leave it. My mom's nose. I'm still trying to wonder who she has. But she has her dad's eyes and everything. Oh yeah, she's got big. I like her. I like her eyelashes.
Test. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming. Our Native American graduation ceremony. Congratulations to all our graduates that are attending today. Very proud of everybody that's here. My name is Christy Page, and I'm the Native American Parent Committee President. And I will be your MC. Tonight we have Stewart, who is our drum group from Turtle Mountain. We have Mr. Cody St. Clair, Mr. Henry, Travis Henry, and Mark Hycheck. We also have a guest speaker tonight from Turtle Mountain, who is Miss Dr. Carol Davis. So we're happy to have you here as well. And we'll get started. So if everybody will stand, we'll start with the flag song. Please remove your hats. Now, if you remain standing, we'll have Mr. Cody St. Clair come up and do the traditional blessing.
First of all, congratulations to your students. I'll continue on with this prayer without this microphone. This will be in our language, the Soto and Turtle Mountain language.
You may be seated. Thank you, Corey. Next up on our agenda, we have our guest speaker, Ms. Carol Davis, Dr. Carol Davis, who will come up and speak for us. Dr. Carol Davis, I have your bio, but I don't have it in front of me. So I'll just tell you. To save time, she is one of our elders from Turtle Mountain, and she's also my aunt. And could be proud to have her here tonight to speak for us. She has done many wonderful things in our community. She has been one of the founders of our Turtle Mountain Community College. And many various other accomplishments, but we are very honored to have you here today. Which appreciate my Christy. Good evening. It's an honor for me to be here with you today. My name is Buffalo Woman, and I'm from the Wolf Clan. My given name is Carol Davis, and I see so many of my former students and friends from back home. It's really nice to see all of you again. I'm honored to be asked to speak to you this evening, and it humbles me because my niece Christy, she's watched me burn supper, do dishes, pick berries, sing too loud at birthdays, laugh with the family, and here I am. She invites me to speak. That's an honor. Thank you, Christy. I'll begin with a message to the graduating seniors and follow that with suggestions for you as parents and other adults. If some of you are community members, you might be interested in the new law that was just passed by the state of North Dakota, which says all schools will incorporate tribal culture into their curriculum, and we'll talk about that as well. I want to congratulate all the graduates. I understand there's graduates from all levels. We have kindergarten all the way up to high school. I'm not sure about college, but congratulations to all of you that are graduating, and I want to wish you the very best as you move to your next level. It's always a different challenge, and it's always new adventures. Don't be afraid of it. Look at the adults around you. They've all been through that. They survived it, and they're doing well.
To all the guests, I want to thank you for taking part in this wonderful event. Grand Forks has a Native community, and it's great that you come together to honor one another, to share your friendships, and to work together to address your issues. The children here tonight will be in your shoes before you know it, and I hope that the tips I share with you this evening will help you impact their education in a positive way. I would like to ask the graduating seniors to stand if they would. Okay, I have a special message for you. Congratulations. This is your time. This is a wonderful opportunity for you to think about your future. You worked very hard to get to this point. And some of you worked harder than others. Some of you had more fun than others. But in all, you made it. Congratulations. The real world is the world that you're living in right now here in Grand Forks. And the one I'm living in on the reservation is also my real world. And some of my friends that are here from back home, that's our world right now. We're connected. We are Native. We're Indigenous. We are tribal. Our ancestors have always been here on Turtle Island. And how do we know that? This is important because sometimes you think that you have to blend in and be something that you are not, but you're very special. You didn't come from ancestors that came across the Bering Strait. You actually, your ancestors were here. The Chippewa creation story tells us that the first human was lowered to the earth by the Creator. You often hear the reference by our people when they say Anishinaabe. That actually means first man, or the first person. Other tribes have their own creation stories. The Lakota called their people and their creation story the first one. The Hidatsa followed Chartboy, who climbed a vine from the center of the earth to the land above. The Mandan emerged through a cave. The Arikara came from below the earth to the surface, and Mother Corn helped them to survive. These are our creation stories here in North Dakota. You're a North Dakota tribe. Those are your creation stories. Our tribes believe this creation took place here in North America. We didn't come across the Bering Strait. Our ceremonies, our songs, they confirm all these beliefs. When you go into ceremony, this is what it's about. It's about you as Native children, as Native people. Our stories explain that the plants and the animals were here on earth before man. Thus, they are our elders, and they must be respected. That's another lesson that you need to take with you as you move into adulthood. Another thing we believe is that all plants and animals have a spirit. I'm not sure if you have heard that, but that's what distinguishes us from Western science. Western science does not believe that, but we believe that every living thing has a spirit. Some call it a soul. That is why we offer tobacco when you pray. You take your tobacco to a tree. And I remember when I worked at the college with Cecilia Myron, only one day she said, "You know how come we're doing this?" And I said, "We're going to pray." She said, "How come we're taking it to a tree. And she taught me a lesson at that tree. Because when the Creator made all the plants, she said, the tree was the tallest. And so that's where we put our tobacco, because we want our prayers to get created. And that's the responsibility of that tree. It has a role in our society, and its role is to carry our prayers to the Creator. Another message I want to give you before you sit down is to remind you to take care of your community of Indigenous family and friends. You look around this room, you have a responsibility now, as you grow into adulthood, to take care of one another. Those who organized this event, they want you to succeed, and that's why they put this together for you. They're doing their part to help you as young adults to grow into strong community members so that you can help one another. Some of you may go back to the reservation and you'll find that there are ways for you to contribute there, to do things that are needed. Don't be shy. If you go back there, there's always lots to do. And if you're willing, there's always someone that needs a helping hand. If you choose to live here in Grand Forks, this is your community. Then you will want to help one another. Don't be shy. Ask one another who you need help. And if you see someone in your community, your Indigenous community that needs help, you seek them out and offer that assistance. With that, I want to congratulate you, graduating seniors, and wish you the very best. I look for great things from all of you. Thank you. Please do this. And now, as I promised, I want to provide information to the parents and adults in the room. I mentioned that the North Dakota legislature passed a law that requires all schools to teach tribal studies in all the K-12 schools. For most schools, this is something new. Administrators, they are responsible for ensuring that this happens. Teachers are on the front lines implementing this, and that's where your contacts are going to be with the children of the teachers of your children. And some of what I tell you today is what I hope you will share with them. I'll start with the little ones. One of the most recent Caldecott books is a native book. Now, Caldecott, every year there are awards for literature. And Caldecott does the rewards for the children's books, and then there's separate awards for the adults. The award this year went to a book titled "We Are Water Protectors," and this is the cover of that book. Some of you have seen it on the internet. I must have posted it 2 or 3 times, and a lot of people have been sending it around and sharing it. We have a good reason for doing that at Turtle Mountain. Carol Lindstrom is actually a Turtle Mountain Chippewa. I'm not positive that she's enrolled, but she communicated with me before she was writing this book and told me that she was a member of our tribe. So we have another person that we can be very proud of. And that's another thing, when you graduates, think about that. You know, we got a lot of books to write out there. You guys need to write some books. There's also a series of Nanawajú books that were written by Joe McLellan from Winnipeg. And these were published in the 1990s. And he used to come to Belcourt. Some of you may have seen him there. We used to host him at the Heritage Center when I was at the Heritage Center. And he would bring these books and he would sell the books and he'd go into the schools and he would read stories to the kids. He was quite active in our community. But he had this series of books, there's probably a dozen of them, and what these books are is a way to teach lessons. There's stories like the dancing ducks, I remember that, how we got fire, that was another one. And it just told how each of those things came to our tribe. Then for the middle level, I recommend a book for teachers. And if you've got students that are in the middle school, you might suggest this book to your teachers there. It's a book written by Vine Deloria. And when he was writing this book, how many of you are familiar with Vine Deloria? He was Standing Rock Sioux, and he's written probably 20 books. Really good. He wrote Custer Died for Your Sins, God is Good, and there's just a whole bunch of them. And this particular book is called The World We Used to Live in, Remembering the Powers of the Medicine Man. I'm going to give this to Christy, so if you want information about anything I'm talking about, you can just ask Christy, she'll have this presentation. But this was really interesting because, just like the title says, Remembering the Powers of the Medicine Men, what he did is he went to archives at newspapers, universities, museums, and he looked for the raw data, the notes written by anthropologists and journalists who were traveling in the United States, meeting with different tribes. And and this was in the 17 and 1800s. And what they were writing, what he was looking for was information in their notes about what they saw when they visited medicine men. And it's a fascinating book. I suggest that you get it and read it. You'll enjoy it. One of the stories that I tell this story all the time because I think especially students would really get off on this one. He talked about the Aurora. There was a anthropologist, I believe it was an anthropologist, that came to North Dakota and visited the Aurora. And they invited him into a ceremony. And in his notes, he's writing things like, I don't know what's going on here. They invite me to a ceremony, they don't want to start. They're all sitting here playing with clay. Looks like they're just having fun, laughing and talking, and he's writing all this in these notes, and all of a sudden, the ceremony starts. And what he writes is that when the ceremony started, the prayers came, the singing came, and all of these little figurines that the medicine men were making came to life. And he witnessed a buffalo hunt where they had made miniature buffalo and they had come to life, but they were just little tiny things. And he witnessed them make horses and riders. And these horses, these native riders were actually buffalo hunting, and they killed the buffalo, the little buffalo. And in the notes it said the hardest part of the ceremony was when the medicine men had to convince the riders to ride into the fire. And when you think about it, you just think about it. But when you really think about what he was saying there, they had actually given these miniature characters some type of a thought process. They were not just upping and running into the fire because they were told to do it. Something was telling them that they shouldn't do that because it was going to be the end of them. So those stories are in that book. And another story, and this one is a Navajo story. And Dan, you'll be interested in this one. This story was about a corn ceremony. And the journalist that was witnessing this ceremony said that they would call into ceremony early in the morning, and they watched the medicine man put the corn into the ground and bury it, and the ceremony started. And all of a sudden, a shoot comes up, and the corn is starting to grow. And as he writes, the corn is getting taller and taller. And he concludes by saying, by the time the sun went down, they were eating corn off of that corn stalk. That's by the Williams book. And I copied the comments because they said it better than I could. And I'll read you what it says. This is about the book. In his final work, now this was the last book that Vine Deloria wrote. He actually died before he finished writing it, and his son finished the book, finished writing it for him. But I heard him make a presentation, and his son made a presentation, and he said the book was pretty much done. He just had to tie the loose ends together, but the book was written already. Here's what they say about the book. In his final work, the great and beloved Native American scholar Vine Deloria Jr. takes us into the realm of the spiritual and reveals through eyewitness accounts the immense power of medicine men. The world we used to live in, a fascinating collection of anecdotes from the tribes across the country, explores everything from healing miracles and sacred rituals to Navajos who could move the sun. In this compelling work, which draws upon a lifetime of scholarship, Deloria shows us how ancient powers fit into our modern understanding of science and the cosmos, and how future generations may draw strength from the old ways. Another teacher resource book, An Indigenous People's History of the United States by Roxanne Dunbar Ortez. This book is it's an excellent book to put beside a regular history book that you use in school. And you can do things with it like, I think I wrote Andrew Jackson now. I said you could take, as an assignment, you could say, what does the traditional textbook say about Andrew Jackson? And then you read this book and you find out the truth about Andrew Jackson, that he benefited personally by stealing land from the Choctaw, that he was nicknamed the Indian Killer because he believed his mission was to kill as many of us as he could get his hands on. Good discussion can follow about history through different eyes. High school students might enjoy reading books by Sherman Alexie. The book, The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, which is about a young cartoonist growing up on the Spokane Indian Reservation, but attending off-reservation school to make a better life, is filled with humor and struggles. If teachers are looking for information they can plug into an existing topic within a course, a good resource is the North Dakota Department of Public Instruction. They've been developing a series of units by elders, mainly from the 5 North Dakota reservations, and incorporating them into a project called Essential Understandings. Now this has been on the internet too. Some of the items I remember from the series was a Mr. Hale. Now Mr. Hale is a Fort Berthold name. If you're familiar with Fort Berthold, you know the Hales are over in Mandaree. But this gentleman was quite interesting. I was one of the elders involved in this project, that's why I know some of them. When he stood up, he was very shy, and when he stood up to talk, you could tell after all these years, he was a grandma boy. He was raised by his grandma, very gentle, very nice, and talked real soft. And he talked about living with his grandmother in Montana. And somehow he ended up at Spirit Lake, but he didn't tell us how he ended up at Spirit Lake. But he did tell us something very interesting, and it is in the Essential Understandings because I've seen it there. He said his grandma told him, I'm old, and I'm not going to live as long as you are. But you're going to live long enough to hear them say they're sorry, but it's going to be too late. I have to ask him who she was talking about, but I at the time, climate change was such a big deal, and it still is, of course, but it was, that's what came into my mind. Another story in the Essential Understandings is about red leggings. And Turtle Mountain, you probably have heard, if you were my student, you heard the story about red leggings. I'll tell you, just, I won't take too much time. Red Leggings was a cancer doctor on our reservation. She died, you know where Clark Marion's house is, right below the church? She died, she had her hospital there, and she died in 1926. But I heard of her when I went to school in Botno. Every morning, there was a little janitor who would be sweeping the hallway. Every morning I'd walk by because, you know, on the reservations we're kind to our elders, and he was a little old man. So I'd walk past him every morning and I'd say, good morning, Mr. Shuley. And he would say, good morning. And I never talked to him, that's all it was. For one morning as I walked past him, I said, good morning, Mr. Shuley. And he said, that woman that cures cancer on your reservation, is she still alive? I turned around and I said, did you say something to me, Mr. Shuley? And he repeated it. And so I said, I've never heard of her. I said, well, I'll ask my parents. I said, they might have. And when I got home, my dad he just told me all about her. I had no clue. To this day, I don't know if he would have talked about her if Mr. Shuley hadn't asked me about her. She did cure cancer, and there's documented stories about it, but what she'd do is she had two poultices. She'd put one on the cancer. Cancer had to be on the body somewhere. She'd put one poultice on the cancer and she would kill it. She'd take that poultice off and she would put another one on, and that one she would draw the cancer out. And when she described it, it had like tentacles, and it looked like a spider. And I told this story one time, and Roger Jourdain, who was the chairman at Red Lake, called me and left a message. And I felt like I was getting a call from Jesus. He was such a big leader. I picked up the phone, I called him back, and I said, Mr. Jourdain, this is Carol Davis. And he had a powerful voice. He was about 85 years old. He had a powerful voice. And he said, are you a language speaker? I said, no. And he said, that story you told, he said, you know what the word for cancer is in Ojibwe? And it was spider. I thought that was really interesting. So anyway, that was the story of Red Leggings, and there's more to it. It's I can tell you about the ingredients too. The story was that there were 7 major plants that she used from our reservation. They're all there. And I've heard people say, you know, people come into our reservation that know anything about medicine, and they're just taken back that they can't believe how much medicine we have out there. And I heard about a lady that she was in Asia that had been cured by her. So I went to visit her daughter. She was an elder, she had died. But I went to visit her daughter, and her daughter told me, you need to shut off your tape recorder. Because I asked her if I could tape her. She said, yeah. So talking and I was listening and she said, shut up, you can record it. So I did. And she said, you don't want this on your recorder. And I said, what don't you want? And she said, when my mother went to see Red Leggings told her to go home and find the biggest garden snake she could find and bring it to her. She used that snake in that picnic. A couple of years after that, Turtle Mountain was doing we were doing the history of Turtle Mountain in a pageant. And I was coordinating it, and one of the vignettes that we did was about Red Leggings. And Ida Tiplin was doing the part of Red Leggings, and so she was down in the IHS one day, and she was talking to the people in the waiting area, and she told them that she was going to be Red Leggings in this play. And a gentleman stood up, Richards from St. John's stood up and told Ida, I know about that woman. And she said she used snakes when she did her treatments. Ida was really mad. She called me up that night. Carol, Gigi, she said, this guy told me this today and I told him to shut his mouth. And I told her, Ida, I said, that's the second time I've heard that. That is so significant. So the word was out there and these were elders that were talking about Red Leggings. So that's another story about Red Leggings. You have to find my spot here now. Okay. If teachers are looking for specific tribal information about the North Dakota tribe, the first place I would recommend they go is to the tribal colleges. Tribal colleges have done a good job of writing their own histories because there's a lack of good historical documents that our students can use. I found at Turtle Mountain Community College there was a book written by Les LaFountain, Ori Richard, Susan Davis, and Scott Belgard, and it was titled Who I Am, and it's a guide to your Turtle Mountain home. And it gives a good contemporary history as well as some of the history of the treaties and so forth. It's a small book, and they let you copy it if you. I think it's on the college website if you ever want to look at it. The best history of the Turtle Mountain Reservation that I found was a dissertation that is going to be published by North Dakota State University in a couple of months. It's a long bugger, it's about 500 pages. And it's titled, In Order That Justice May Be Done, The Legal Struggle of the Turtle Mountain Chippewa, 1795 to 1905. But it gives the, you hear about Little Shell, but you don't really get the significance of this man, what a great person he was, until you realize that without him, Turtle Mountain would not we would not have gotten our reservation. He was persistent, even after they kicked him out of the tribe and they formed they let the government form their own council. He was persistent and continued to fight with the government and write letters. And it was one of those letters that was picked up by the Indian commissioner in Washington, D.C. that said, why hasn't anybody acted on this? And then he gives all the reasons. They were finding coal. They didn't want the people to have land, so they were ignoring everything all our struggles. People were dying. We had 175 people died that one winter. So it's a really good history, and it gives all those details. Middle school teachers who are teaching North Dakota history should incorporate the documentary film Waterbuster. It's a history of how the United States government took land from the 3 affiliated tribes of Fort Berthold and they flooded Elbow Woods. There's also a recent film that some of you may have seen on public broadcasting about the 1943 basketball team that won the state tournament, but they wouldn't give them the award. And they struggled, and I think within the last couple of years, the state finally recognized that team, but they've all passed. But they have relatives that accepted for them. But those two are available, I believe, both through Prairie Public TV. That's where you can start looking for them. And I have a copy of the Waterbuster video, but I don't have the one on the basketball team. But that was really good one. If you haven't seen it, you want to see that one too. Believe it or not, there's a lot of good information out there to support science. My favorite title, The Peak Experience, is Native Hawaiian and Native American Engineering Education. And what I like most about this book is the references. Teachers can find all kinds of Native STEM books and articles written by and about Native people and programs in their reference section. And I know about this book because I was involved with part of it, but it's got a really good bibliography or reference list if you ever want your students who are studying science to look at Indigenous science. There's a lot of good references there. A good resource for schools is Building Community, Reforming Math and Science Education in Rural Schools by Paul Boyer. And this is, it has a chapter titled Lessons Learned, Ideas and Inspirations for Communities, Teachers, Administrators, and School Boards. And that's something you may want to look at if you are going to get involved in helping with the K-12 cultural integration into your schools. We all like to make good decisions. I recommend a book I bought for 35 cents on Amazon, The Genius of Sitting Bull, which compares Sitting Bull's decisions that he made during the Little Bighorn and compares it to Custer's. It's really, it's fun. It's fun because you know Sitting Bull wins. Lots of good lessons. Well, I've shared my words of wisdom to the graduates and provided you as parents and community with some resources that I think you might be able to use in your schools. I hope that this has been helpful. I hope you continue to have this vibrant community, that you support one another and help one another and continue to do things together, especially with this new curriculum that's coming in. I think you guys could just take over that whole thing. Just go in there and tell me you want to do it. They'll let you because they don't know what to do. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for the opportunity to share this information. It's good to see some of you out there that Alice, Dan, that I've known for years, and just happy that you guys are happy, and want to wish you all the best. Pat Stewart, of course, is here. We need to recognize her. Pat teaches at the Wapton Indian School. Raise your hand, Pat. And she's one of our elders as well. And I was so happy to see her. So I want to wish you all the best. And God bless all of you, especially those seniors that are going to be moving into the next challenging level. Thank you. Thank you, Aunt Carol.
It's always fun to listen to her. She's just a wealth of resource and knowledge and a little bit of humor. And boy, let me tell you, we can do the jig together. Yeah. All right, I think what I'm going to do to close out our ceremony tonight is I'm going to just call up or just have all the graduates come up, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to pass the mic down, and I want you to introduce yourself and what grade you're in. I don't want to miss anybody. What grade you're in and what school you're from. And then I want you just to stay up here, and we'll have Stewart do the honor song for you in closing, okay? Come on up.
Go on up. Go with there. You can follow her up there. Go on. There. See, she
And while they're coming up, I would just like to introduce, or not introduce, but I'll just make you aware. Our Native American program in the district, we do have a Native American liaison, Chad Ford. We also have a parent committee, so if any of you parents are interested in being on that committee, we will have some openings coming open. So if you're interested, you just have to give us your name to put on the ballot, and that just helps us as an advisory board for the district if you're interested. On that board is, like I said, I'm the Native American Parent Committee president, and then we do have a vice president, Katie Manette, who could not be here today. The secretary is Holly Moore, who is also couldn't be here today. We have a member at large, Sloan Henry. Stand up, and her husband is Travis Henry, right? And our other member at large is Courtney Seroll. So we have two members at large, a secretary, a vice president, and a president. Our other member is Mr. Lowe. He's also the associate principal here at South, but he is going to be taking over as the director of our program for Mr. Jody Thompson, who has been our longtime director, who is retiring this year and couldn't be here due to a family medical. So I just wanted to introduce some of those some of those members. We also have a student rep committee that has 2 students from community, two students from Red River, and 2 students from Central High School. If you are a student rep and here tonight, if you would stand. Where's my daughter? Oh, you're there. Okay, I'm losing it. All right. If you would raise your hand if you're a student rep. All right. And I believe, Jade, you were also. Yeah, we were getting there. All right, so so if any of you students that are going to be in high school want to be a student rep, you just need to let us know. And you could be some of our advisory board for us. And what we do is then we talk to the administration here and we get your input, as well as the parent committee gives input, and then also the student committee gives input. So just some resources that if you guys are interested, that's out there. So we will start with our graduates. Key Azure, you said? Junior, 5th grade. Ben Franklin. Whisper in my ear. How about brother? Brother, I'll introduce you, okay?
Zachariah Griffin, Lake Agency. I pre-K. He's graduating. And I'm DJ Harrison and Central High School.
Alex Page, senior, Red River High School.
My name is Mary, and I am in 5th grade, but in 6th, and I go to Cali. Avery Gooden, and I'm a senior at Red River High School.
Jade Osler, senior at Red River High School.
Anna Lee, 8th grade, Valley Middle School.
I'm Camden, and I'm a 5th grader at Lucien Park Elementary.
My name is Laura. I'm going to kindergarten.
Lewis and Clark, right? All right. Congratulations, and here's our graduating Native American students for Bradford Public Schools. Now, if you'll stay up here, students, we will have a closing. We'll have the Slewfoot do the honor song. If everybody would stand.
Hey!
Great, thank you all for coming. If the graduates, would you please go thank the guests? You can walk that way and just shake. Thank them for coming. And thank you all for coming. Congratulations.
No, this is Carol's. I was going to go downstairs. Mary.
You guys want some food? Go ahead and take it home, please.
Oh, yeah?
Cake, food, water?
Oh.
And they said you could take more sandwiches. Almost done. Really? I know. Lady, couple more days. How come you got scared? They said you're grade 5th. And Kelly, that's all you have to say. Larry, 5th, Kelly. It's like, you don't have to say it.
Alright, I'll see you later, okay? I gotta go. You better go over there with Grandma and them.
Mom. 1987.
There you go. I see it on Facebook, and then I got an email saying, I'm the president of the president, and I looked at it, and I'm like, hey, Mary, I'm about to keep it back.
Yeah, my dad graduated from Yep. Let's see, it was probably late 70s, 75, 76 years. Yes, and I think we're related to her now. We hardly ever get to go back late besides weddings and funerals, really, that's it. Which is sad sometimes. Yeah.
Where's the garbage? You want to go put them on that table?
So many years later, you get to see them all grown up. Good, yeah.
You want to Mary, you want your help put your chair together?
Yeah.
You gonna take some cake home for your two at home?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Might want to take some.
Another 3 I don't know. I gotta go up to play volleyball here for a week.
We'll take that out and then take
Let's not get
Can you help? No, I don't. Want to grab and put a wash? I guess she wants a sandwich.
Just one.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna have way too much to do.
Hard enough, Parmesan.
Yeah, I don't know. Have enough? pencils those are, but forks I brought for my graduation.
Yeah, I figured, so I was just putting everything.
Otherwise, the decorations, the place.
Oh my God.
Right? Yeah? Yeah. Is that somebody's bowl?
It was what, I don't know what.
Oh, yeah. How about these chips? Those could probably be. Right?
Yeah, I have chip bowls. Can we clean these in there, or can we even go in there?
We just put them in here and then we just. I don't know what to do.
Blend board or best board or.
Mother. How come I was never taught? How come I was never taught how are you in this?
We could, hey Mom. Could bring these to the meet this weekend.
Oh, yeah, the track meet. I don't know. It's up to you.
Oh, yeah.
If that's okay.
Yeah, use some board for, that's okay.
Sorry, natural donuts. Natural donuts.
Want to be?
Okay. I don't know if any.
I got board.
So, like, you're still recording us.
We were. You were just waiting.